Dealing with addiction.
One day I want to find someone who sees the world like me.
What's going on, people? Ben and Brittany here from benandbrittany.net. Welcome to the podcast. Today we are talking about dealing with addiction. And we're not necessarily talking about it from the standpoint of the addict. We are talking about this from the standpoint of a family member, a friend, somebody that you know around you is addicted, and this is how to deal with it in that sense. And to make a long story short, there is no dealing with it. I know firsthand what it's like to be around people who are addicts in whether it's drugs or alcohol. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a very difficult topic to discuss, but it's very real. So I wanted to bring it up and kind of go into it a little bit. I told Brittany before the podcast, I said, I might need you to kind of pull some stuff out of me just for the sake of conversation. But dealing with people who are addicted to stuff is not fun. You spend a lot of time trying to fix them or cater to them or figure out what makes them tick. And what's gonna, you go down a bunch of different rabbit holes trying to figure out, maybe if I say this, it'll click. Or maybe if I do this, it'll click. And if you're one of those people who has done that with somebody, congratulations. That's not how it works. There is no moment. There is nothing that you can say or do to pull somebody out of their own self-destruction spiral. If you think that you can, my advice to you would be that you're wasting your time. And I don't mean to sound like an asshole by saying all this. I'm just telling you the honest truth from what I found. You have to let said person hit rock bottom. And a lot of times when you think they're at rock bottom, there's still another all-time low to follow. So you just have to step back, put your hands up, and be like, I can't be a part of this. You have to kind of cut that out of your life, because if that's their decision to go down that path, and I'm not blaming anybody who goes down that path. Life can do certain things to certain people, and that can be somebody's answer. I don't know what that's like, so I can't speak on it. All I can speak on is what it's like to see it from a friend or family member's perspective and really take it in and try and fail to fix or rehabilitate. So I know, Brittany, you have dealt with some things like this in your life too, and
right. In my previous marriage,
yeah,
there was a bit of a drinking problem, and I actually went to, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, but I think it's called Al-Anon for family members. And basically I went a couple times, and it was disheartening, but yet at the same time, it made me realize exactly what Ben said. So a lot of people will be like, oh, you have to get them help. Tell them to go to a counselor. Tell them to go to a doctor. Tell them to do this. Have this person go to rehab. And there was other people there like telling much more horrible stories than I was going through. And same thing, like, parents of heroin addicts were given the same advice that I was given, and that was, you cannot force someone to stop their bad habit. You cannot force someone to go to rehab, to go to a hospital, to go get help. They have to decide on their own. And all we're doing is creating this codependence on ourselves when we make their addiction our responsibility. So for example, and I'm just throwing examples out there, so this is not talking about any specific person, but just to try to get my point across, if there is a alcoholic spouse who, you know, has a problem drinking beer all the time, and then you start like taking the beer out of the fridge and dumping out the beer, and then when they come home drunk from the bar because they stopped at the bar because there's no beer at home, you like nurse them back to health the next day when they have a horrible hangover, and you're doing all these things trying to clean up their act when you're paying their credit card bills because they don't have the money to buy the beer, so they're putting it on the credit card and you're paying off the credit card. You're just enabling at this point. You're helping them and you think that, oh, I'm doing good, but really you're just enabling their addiction, and you're also creating a codependency on yourself. And what I mean by codependency is you actually start to have this pattern of not knowing how to live life without taking care of somebody who's dependent on alcohol or drugs or some other very negative bad habit.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of like that whole thing where sometimes I'm gonna pick on females here, just not I just feel like it's a stereotype. Like, but if you see a
probably
female,
relatable.
Yeah, if you see a female that's in a bad relationship and then they finally dump said guy, and then they meet another guy who's exactly the same as the guy.
It's because they don't know another normal.
That's codependency, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
And usually we look up a bunch of statistics and articles on the things that we're discussing right now, but I don't really give a shit what science or Dr. Phil says about this stuff. All I know is my personal experience, and that's what we're here to share. Like,
well, can I?
You could. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
you could still give them, but I'm just.
I know.
Yeah.
So the research that I've looked up is not about how to help people with this problem or what to do. But one thing is that if it does run in your family, this addiction is genetic. So you are at a higher risk of developing the same bad habit.
Yeah.
Because that addictive behavior, it's in your blood. So
yeah.
There's just a lot of statistics on it that back what I'm saying. And, you know, they're saying this, the Recovery Center in Orlando had a really nice article, and it just said that children of addicts are 8 times more likely to develop an addiction. There was a study that suggests a strong genetic component, particularly for the onset of alcoholism in males. Sons of alcoholic fathers are 4 times more likely to become alcoholics. The use of substances by parents and their adolescent children is strongly correlated. And then, let me see. Children of addicted parents experience greater physical and mental health problems and higher health and welfare costs than do children of non-addicted families. So there's just a lot of studies and statistics on this. So basically, what I'm getting at is you may not be able to help the person in your family that's having this issue, but you can make sure you take the right steps to prevent yourself from going down the same rabbit hole.
Yeah, true. So, but it's at the end of the day, like, all that stuff is very, very black and white. It's like, you know, sugar's bad for your teeth. Like, we know that.
Right.
You know, I feel like that's
people
a lot
can be addicted to sugar.
Yeah, you can be addicted to anything. I don't think that there's a whole other thing that a lot of people like to discuss and share their opinions on, and I'm not saying anybody's wrong. A lot of people say that addiction is a disease, and I can understand why people say that, because there are factual scientific stuff that backs up that, like, you know, it's hereditary, it's a gene. Sometimes people have the tendency to be addicted.
Right.
But that's what I think. That's where I think it stops. I don't think that addiction to a certain substance is a disease or.
And that's not what I was
hereditary. I know. But a lot of people think that. I've had this discussion with people before.
I was just going to go down the road of like Ben and I decided to stop drinking for a while.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we, in this dry January, we just found that out today.
January, sober October, like
yeah. But I guess that's to help people recover from the holidays. But we just did it for health reasons. Like we both gained a little.
Feel better.
We both gained a little weight, and we were realizing that we were drinking a little bit more than we probably should, like more nights of the week than we probably should. Mm-hmm. And had a bad day, have a glass of wine, and we just realized, because alcoholism does run in our families, that was just not a great path we were going down. Like I don't think we had an addiction issue, but we both realized that, okay, this just isn't healthy. Let's just take a break from it all together. So that's why I brought up these statistics. Like if you just see yourself making bad habits, making bad choices, you can stop before it becomes a problem.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to say...
I apologize if I was confusing.
No. I wasn't trying to debunk you. I was trying to say that I don't think that addiction necessarily is a disease. Like, okay, I don't think that because you're an alcoholic, alcoholism is your disease. I don't think that is true. And that's just my opinion. There's nothing factual to back it up. But here's my theory. I think having an addictive personality is the trait. I wouldn't call it a disease. I would just call it, you tend to get addicted and really go for one thing. And I've been addicted to cigarettes. I know that I have an addictive personality. There's certain things that I could definitely see myself, like I could be an alcoholic. I could be a pill popper. I could be a cigarette smoker, smoking 2 packs a day. Like I could do that because I know that my body gets addicted to things. Like I've been down that road before. And I don't think that substances are what the disease is. The disease is the addictive personality, and everybody has it to a certain extent. It's just like I might have way more of an addictive personality than you do. And I could either get addicted to alcohol, heroin, or yoga. It could be anything like that. Like a lot of recovering addicts replace their addiction with something positive because that helps them a lot to get over, because they need to be addicted to something.
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction, and it's just they need their thing, whatever it may be. And I think that's something that just, depending on life situations, what road people go down, what road they're forced down, sometimes it's a lot hard. A lot of people have a very tough paper route, and I can see how it would be really easy to go to drugs and alcohol. And for other people, it's really easy to go to basketball or photography or stuff like that. Like I am addicted to like making music and making videos, I'm addicted to creating. I'm always doing it. Like constantly, all day. I suck at things that I shouldn't suck at, like money management. We just did a podcast on money management, and I suck at that. But I'm really good at creating things. That is my addiction. But if I didn't have that to do, if I didn't have the tools to do that, I would probably be smoking cigarettes and killing time that way and probably drinking more. Like, I would do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I was in Arizona for work, Ben drank like every night.
Yeah, when Brittany went to Arizona for work, I was here by myself, and I didn't know what to do with myself. Because, like, after I work, I hang out with Brittany and the family, and Brittany and the family were gone. So what did I do? I was like, I think I smoked at the time, too. Mm-hmm. So I was drinking beer and smoking cigarettes because that's what I did to kill the time. And I can definitely see how people can get down that road. But I do not feel that it is a disease to be addicted to something bad. Like, that's just what you went for. I don't think you can say, I have alcoholism. It's not my fault. It might not be totally your fault, but nobody forced you to do anything. That's my opinion on that. I'm sorry if I upset somebody or anybody who's listening. That's just how I feel, man. I've been down it. I've been down that road. I've seen it happen to friends and family, and
well, you've seen it ruin people's lives.
I've seen it ruin people,
and it affects you.
And I've seen it ruin
directly.
the people around them too, and it directly affects me. It directly affects a lot of other people. It's not fun, and I encourage anyone who's listening to this that knows somebody, loves somebody who is going down this destructive path to just back off. Like, you can try to help them, but once they're in it, you have to let them hit rock bottom, or else you're just going to prolong the rock bottom.
And people who know people that have alcohol problems or drug problems, what's not helping is you telling that the first person in line, like if Susie knows Sherry and Sherry knows that Joe has an addiction problem.
Don't approach Sherry and be like, you need to help him.
You need to get Joe help.
No, you can't.
You need to do this. You need to do that. Like that, you are only making it worse for that person who's caught in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can tell you that they've probably tried everything in the book already, and now you're just making them feel worse about themselves.
And then sooner or later, that person's going to explode on the wrong person that says that to them on the wrong time. Like, do you have any idea what I tried? It's not worth it. Like,
it's just not good.
You're
making their situation even harder. And it kind of goes back to, like, Ben and I always say, like, you shouldn't judge other people. Like, don't judge their parenting styles. Don't judge, how they live their life. Don't judge somebody because they left their spouse. Like, you don't know what that person's going through. So the people that say you need to get this person help, like, it honestly, I know that it's probably coming from the kindness of their heart, and they think they're telling you some magical words of wisdom that are going to help you make everything all better for this other person.
And they think it's as easy as making a couple of phone calls or having an intervention.
But it's not going to work. And there's people who, I mean, Ben, you've been dealing with this for a really long time, and I dealt with my own version of it for a really long time, for 8 years. But there's people who are in marriages for 20, 30 years with alcoholics and drug addicts, and it goes down a really ugly, dark hole. And what they can't leave because they have this codependence on trying to help this person, and every time this person says, I'm gonna get better, they're like, okay, maybe this is it, and then they stay. And then they keep going down the hole again. Every time that the person, falls off the bandwagon, as they say, that spouse is right back there helping them, taking them to the hospital or doing all these things. Not letting them hit
rock bottom.
Those are the people that we should be thinking about. Those are the people that we should be trying to get them help, because we can actually help those people, the codependent people. We can't really help the dependent person until they want to help themselves. Yep. But the codependent, we can help them realize that you don't have to live like this. Great for sticking around and sticking to your vows. I do until the end of time, for better or for worse. And you keep telling yourself, well, this must be worse. I remember saying that to myself, and I said, I do, it was for better or for worse. And this must be worse. This must be what they meant. So I have to stay. No, you don't. You don't have to make your life miserable because they chose to make their life miserable. And actually, a really good friend of mine gave me this book. It's called Codependent No More. And I remember when she gave it to me, she tried to give it to me in secrecy, so that way I wouldn't be embarrassed. And I've just come such a long way that it doesn't bother me anymore. But I just want to read the back here for a second, because it says exactly what codependence is. And codependency is the concept of losing oneself in the name of helping another. And that's exactly what spouses, children, parents of addicts, that's what they are. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I wanted to kind of talk about was setting boundaries, because I think you're really good at this. I think Ben realized he did everything he could to help this person in his life, and nothing he was doing was working. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Is this the part where you're like, I kind of just shut off my emotion? Is that what you're saying I'm good at? Yeah.
Like Ben realized that am I okay?
Yeah, keep going.
Stop me if I'm...
No, you're good.
Ben made his, I think, decision before meeting me to like shut off that emotion.
Yeah.
But Ben and I, whenever we first got together, we kind of made it our mission to weed out the negativity and that we would only surround ourselves with positivity because we both had dealt with a lot of negativity in the past.
Very difficult to do when people around you are addicted to drugs and alcohol and stuff.
Especially when they're close to you. So here are some examples of boundaries common to codependents who are recovering. So codependents, just like dependents, have to recover so they can get out of this spiral of constantly having to be codependent with this person. Okay? So for just example, I will not lie to protect you or me from your alcoholism. I will not finance a person's alcoholism or other irresponsible behavior. I will not rescue people from the consequences of their alcohol abuse or other irresponsible behavior. I will not knowingly believe or support lies. I will not use my home as a detoxification center for recovering alcoholics. I think that's a big one. I think so many people have nursed some of their addicted loved ones back to health just for that loved one to go back down the rabbit hole. Here's one. I think this is one that maybe you struggle a little with. And that's, you can spoil your fun, your day, your life, that's your business, but I won't let you spoil my fun, my day, or my life.
Yeah, I do struggle with that one.
Like, sometimes we get bad news, and...
Bad news or just the wrong phone call.
Understandably, it upsets Ben for a good couple hours. And I can't blame you. It's difficult. It's very difficult.
What are you going to do? I don't know what to do about that. I struggle with that one.
I think that's just time. And I honestly, I don't know. I can't tell you. It's like when you still feel an obligation, but there's nothing you can do, and you're just, I don't know. It brings you down.
It does. It brings you down. You're trying to enjoy your life, and then something bad happens, and you're one of the only ones that gets the call about it, and there's nothing you can do except receive said bad news or said phone call that's not good. Like, there's nothing you can do. So I struggle with that, and it just gets to me sometimes. So if anybody has any advice for me, I'd like to hear it. Because I'm pretty good at turning off my emotions. Like, I am like shockingly, like sociopathically good at going, not gonna feel any emotion towards that anymore. But that still gets to me. Is there anything else?
Yeah, this book is just really great. So if you're someone who's dealing with codependency, I truly would recommend that you read it. We can put a link in the YouTube comment section. But really, the most important thing is that you have to realize that you cannot control other people's behavior. That you can only control yourself and your reactions to that negative behavior. Yeah. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight.
Don't feel bad for getting on with your life.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I would say. I was like, don't feel bad to get on with your life.
I feel like that's the one thing that Ben and I mainly wanted to get across in this podcast, because so many people are like, get them help and do this and do that, and then Ben just feels the weight of the world. I have a job. I'm trying
to get a promotion. I'm trying to do all these things with my life. Like, I don't have time for this. Like, that's somebody else doing that to themselves. Yeah. And that's what it is. And that's what I've come to know. And it's just, you gotta not be afraid to get on with your life. You can't be there for all the things that people want you to be there for and receive all the bad news and then snap your fingers and somehow fix it, or spend an immense amount of time trying to. And if you're one of those people that have done that and succeeded, like, awesome, congratulations. That's incredible, because it's a very difficult task. Like, I would love to talk to somebody who was like, I spent a year trying to fix this person and they're fixed. Like, I would love to meet that person. I've never met one.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Not saying that they don't exist. Don't get me wrong. I'm just a little pessimistic when it comes to topics like this.
There are definitely success stories, and I'm sure maybe some of you listening have gone through it, and kudos to you for doing what you had to do and for making the realization that you had a problem and taking the right steps to fix it. Kudos to any person who's removed themselves from a toxic relationship. And when I say relationship, I mean anything. Friendship, a parent-child, spouse and spouse, significant other with significant other. It doesn't. I don't care. Brother and sister, like sibling relationships.
Yeah. If your dog's at home doing lines, like, put him down. No.
Oh, Ben.
Sorry. I felt like I had to go there.
He always provides the comic relief.
Probably nobody's laughing right now. Except me.
Yeah, just you. I'm not laughing.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening to us kind of rant about this. Definitely something that hits home with us, and we talked before the podcast if we were actually going to do this, and we just decided that we want to talk about things that hit home with us and things that we've really experienced and been through, and share it with you guys, and that's what we're here to do, to just give you the honest truth, no bullshit, nothing. So if there's anything we can do to help anyone, just ask us anything, do anything, just let us know. You can message us, email us, you can text Ben and Brittany to 717-422-8318. You can become a part of our community and get some free stuff from us by doing that. But yeah, just let us know how we can help you guys in any way. And thank you for listening. Weigh in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Tell us your stories, all that stuff. You got anything?
No, just set yourself free from the negativity.
Yep.
It's not your problem.
Don't be afraid to get on with your life. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys later.